The hydrogen bomb is the most destructive weapon ever created by mankind. Energy released by the fusion together of light nuclei is what helps the hydrogen bomb detonate. Two key reactions take place for the detonation of a hydrogen bomb. Nuclear fission reaction compresses the elements involved in the bomb, and nuclear fusion smashes together the nuclei of the isotopes, forming a larger, heavier nucleus. On January 31, 1950, President Harry S. Truman announced his decision to support the development, through massive funding, of the H-bomb. The hydrogen bomb was developed as a response to the Soviet Union successfully detonating a test atomic bomb, and as a response to the infiltration of the U.S. nuclear program by a top-ranking German-born scientist named Klaus Fuchs, who was found out by British and American intelligence organizations to have been an undercover spy for the USSR. This meant that the USSR had collected the intel to build their own hydrogen bomb from the United States, so the United States had to act quickly to produce one first. The U.S. was successful in this task, and on November 1, 1952, the U.S. detonated Mike, the world's first hydrogen bomb, on the Ujulab Atoll in the Pacific Marshall Islands. Mike, a 10.4 megaton device, vaporized the entire island and left behind a crater over a mile wide. 3 years later, however, the Soviets detonated their own H-bomb, and at that point, the U.S. and USSR were both faced with the tension of thermonuclear war for the first time in history. The hydrogen bomb is known as a thermonuclear weapon because, when detonated, a self-sustaining chain reaction occurs. In this reaction, hydrogen isotopes combine under incredibly high temperatures to create helium, causing nuclear fusion. Thermonuclear bombs are different from atomic bombs because thermonuclear bombs mainly use energy from fusion, not fission. The hydrogen bomb forms a typical mushroom cloud explosion that we're used to seeing in movies and video games. Hydrogen bombs were built considering the Teller-Ulam principle of staged radiation implosion, which essentially means that the bombs are structured so that the detonation reaction is staggered, as opposed to happening all at once.
This is the single most powerful device ever constructed. Known as the Tsar Bomba, this Soviet-designed nuclear weapon had a destructive power 10 times the combined force of all conventional explosives used in World War II, and was 3,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb that destroyed Hiroshima. Weighing 27 metric tons, the Tsar Bomba was so heavy it needed a specially modified plane to carry it to the release site. And it was on the 30th of October 1961 that the bomb was dropped from an altitude of 6.5 miles above a remote island in the Arctic Ocean. Because the device was so absurdly powerful, a parachute was deployed to slow its descent and allow the plane's crew time to escape from the blast. When the bomb was detonated, it released an energy yield equivalent to 50 million tons of TNT and created a gigantic fireball that was visible from 500 miles away. The bomb completely destroyed everything within a 22-mile radius and damaged windows in Norway and Finland some thousands of miles away. Let's hope that such a ridiculously devastating event will never again take place. This has been an Amazing Planet production. Thanks very much for watching.
The Tsar Bomba hydrogen bomb's mushroom cloud can get up to 64 kilometers tall, while the atom bomb used in Hiroshima was only 12 kilometers tall. To put it into perspective, Mount Everest is only 8.8 kilometers tall. Hydrogen bombs can be up to 3,000 times stronger than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Atomic bombs use energy released by fission, while hydrogen bombs use energy released by fusion.
Operation Starfish Prime was a project conducted by the United States in July 1962. The plan was to explode a 1.45 megaton hydrogen bomb outside of our atmosphere. A few months prior, the Soviet Union had tested its own hydrogen bomb, TSAR BOMBA, and the US was looking to gain an upper hand in the nuclear arms race. The whole point of this test was to disrupt the Van Allen belts, which are pockets of intense radiation outside of Earth's atmosphere. While this did not happen, it did cause an electromagnetic pulse that disrupted electrical services in the Pacific, and it disrupted satellites. An aurora borealis was also created by the explosion, which was later reported by many news sources in the Pacific. Because of this project and others like it, the Soviet Union and the United States signed the Limited Nuclear Test Ban Treaty in 1963 to ban tests done in our atmosphere. And if a hydrogen bomb caused an EMP today, it would have catastrophic results on our planet.
On October 30th, 1961, the most powerful human-made explosion in history radiated from the Arctic of Sarony, creating a shock wave that broke windows up to 560 miles away. The USSR had just detonated the TSAR, or the SAR bomber, a hydrogen bomb with a yield of 50 megatons, more than 3,000 times the power of the bomb dropped in Hiroshima. The shock waves from the SAR bomber was so grave that the countries decided to ban testing of bombs all over, all types of bans. In all different types of environment, above ground, underground, and underwater. And by 1963, the ban in 1963, which was the partial test ban treaty, was negotiated, had a large response to the international community's grave concern over the radioactive fallout resulting from the atmospheric test. The United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom became parties to the treaty. France and China did not. France conducted its last atmospheric test in 1974 and China in 1980. There are different ways that, different things that we implemented during the ban to test whether or not, or should I say detect nuclear explosions by monitoring low frequency sound waves in the atmosphere with the CTBTO, and we also try to detect radioactive particles emitting from atmospheric testing as well. Since the largest nuclear test with the SAR bomber, a lot of countries are really worried about whether or not, people will continue to not make bombs and not try to blow up the world with these bombs. We can always be sure, but hopefully, people will follow through with the treaty and continue on with the promise to not set off nuclear explosions in either of those places. Thank you.